With this week, we have a very special guest. This man has won over 25 awards for composing.
That's too many
Starting back
awards.
in 1992, where he won Best of Sound Awards, Best Sound of Video Games. He had Best CD Soundtracks, Best Sound Effects. He has done music and sound for games that include Tomorrow Never Dies, Spider-Man, Advent Rising, Unreal Tournament, Unreal 2, MDK, Demolition Racer. He has games for PlayStation 2 like Maxima vs. Army of Zin, Spy Hunter 2, Blood Rain,
Did he do
GameCube,
Earthworm Jim?
Metroid Prime 2, Aladdin.
Aladdin!
Gladiators, Jungle Book, Batman Revenge of the Joker, if you remember that game.
Oh, that's a good game.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater. He has done many, many, many games. He has worked in industry very hard, even Mortal Kombat Trilogy, for crying out loud. He has worked very hard in industry, has won tons of awards. He is also the founder of Video Games Live, the very, very huge hit concert tour, which has been going around for 7 years now, has done hundreds and hundreds of performances, has 2 albums out, Level 1 and Level 2. The third one is currently up for Kickstarter, but he'll be sharing more about that. We have with us the video game composing legend, said so by Sam Hulick himself when he was on with us last year. We have with us Tommy Tallarico.
Yo!
Yo, welcome to the show, Tommy Tallarico.
Hey, hey.
Did you pronounce your last name right?
No, you just up pretty bad.
Awesome! That's how we roll.
Is that how you roll?
That's how we roll.
I just try to pronounce it the way Sam Hulick said it, so blame him.
Okay, I will blame him.
So, welcome to Bombad Radio, sir. We just introduced you a little bit to the fans, but maybe the first question we're going to ask is, you started Video Games Live 7, 8 years ago, I believe?
11 years ago.
11 years ago.
Yeah.
Whoa, time has flown by. So, I guess the first question we're going to ask is, why did you start Video Games Live? Why did you come up with this idea for this massive tour of video game music that became the massive program it is now?
Well, I've been a video game composer for over 23 years, and my whole goal with creating Video Games Live is I wanted to prove to the world how culturally significant and artistic video games have become. And I wanted to create a show for everybody, not just for hardcore gamers. I didn't want to create just like, kind of a boring traditional symphony show that just played video game music. To me, I mean, Video Games Live, it's all the greatest video game music of all time played by a full symphony and choir, but what makes it really special and unique is that everything's completely synchronized to massive video screens and a stage show production and interactive elements with the crowd. So I kind of like to describe Video Games Live as having all the power and emotion of a symphony orchestra, but combined with the energy and excitement of a rock concert, mixed together with all the cutting-edge visuals and technology and interactivity and fun that video games provide. So, I wanted to do a show that was fun, and everybody thought I was completely insane when I first started talking about it, because people were like, well, people who go to a symphony don't play video games, and people who play video games certainly don't go to a symphony, so you're doubly screwed. So I did that, never took no for an answer, and I did that first show at the Hollywood Bowl, and over 11,000 people showed up. So all of a sudden, I wasn't so crazy anymore.
And one thing I noticed, I went to Video Games Live when it came to Salt Lake City in 2011.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed is it's the show that kids can go with their grandparents can go with their parents, and everyone will find something to enjoy. The kids will enjoy the video game music, the parents and grandparents will enjoy it like they do the symphony, and it's just enjoyable for everyone in the family to go to, when most people think video game music would be
just for
terrible.
hardcore gamers or whatever. Exactly. And that was my point. I mean, some of the best emails and letters that we get after the performance aren't from the hardcore gamers. They're from the non-gamers. They're from those moms who brought the neighborhood kid, or the grandparents who brought their grandkids to the symphony for the first time, or maybe the girlfriend who got dragged there by the boyfriend or whatever. They're the ones who are most impressed and most blown away, because, I mean, let's face it, gamers know how epic epic the music is for Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger and Warcraft and Mario and Halo, Zelda, etc.
Advent Rising.
Hey, there you go. Hey, a good old Utah. That's a Utah-made game right there. That's made by Mormons.
I demand.
And the soundtrack's done by a little-known guy who might be talking to us right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I have no idea.
I thought James did that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that was all me. That was me. I did that. I was holding out on you.
That's right. Now, with a name like Jeremiah, I'm assuming you're in the Salt Lake area.
I'm south. I'm in Provo. But yeah.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah, good Mormon boy, I'm sure. Working with Orson Scott Card, another amazing Mormon. And
I have met him. I took an English class from his sister.
Wow, how great is that, man?
It was great. Best guest teacher ever.
Oh, I can imagine, right? I'm looking forward to the Ender's Game movie. Shoot. Anyway, so yeah, I mean that's the thing. You saw it firsthand, right? You saw, because when I tell people this, they don't believe me. But for people who've never been to a show, but yeah, when you go to our show, there's a lot of hardcore gamers there and casual gamers, but I'd say probably close to 30% plus of the audience are not gamers. Are not, and 30 to 40% of the audience are female. Because everyone's always like, oh, girls don't play video games. Yeah, baloney. They're cheering their heads off when Zelda and Kingdom Hearts and things like that come on the screen. So
yeah, really, that can't be possibly right anymore. Girls are always playing video games now.
I know, right?
As I recall, the girls also cheered when you busted out the guitar playing Halo.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, absolutely. I'll leave it.
So I guess one of the things I'm going to ask is, so put people in perspective how big Video Games Live is. How many shows have you done? And as far as I recall, don't you do a different set every single show?
Every time. We've never done the same show twice. I've created over 120 segments for Video Games Live. And yeah, we change the show every year. Like just recently, over the past couple months, we added in Destiny, which is the next big Halo game, or Bungie game. It hasn't even come out yet. Assassin's Creed 4 we're playing, a game that hasn't even come out yet. We just put together a Monkey Island segment. We're doing Skyrim and Journey and Dota 2. And yeah, I mean, that's a great thing about doing Video Games Live. It's just an endless well of amazing content that I get to draw from, both new stuff and even stuff that's in the past that we haven't yet covered. I mean, I got on my short list games like Katamari Damacy and Devil May Cry and Earthbound and the Mana series. I mean, there's so much stuff that we still haven't even dove into. And I mean, we have multiple Zelda segments, multiple Warcraft segments, multiple Mario segments, multiple Final Fantasy segments. I mean, we could, I'll tour this forever as long as people keep showing up. And like I said, we change the show every year to make sure it's a whole new experience for folks.
That's awesome. Although I will say one thing. I definitely have to say, if you're going to go old school, if I might make a suggestion.
Please.
Contra from NES.
We're already done. We do 2 versions of it. How about
really?
that? Oh yeah, we
told me this.
Yes.
It's online. It's on YouTube.
Down.
Dude,
it's on YouTube.
That shit. You gotta.
Hell yeah!
Go on
Dude,
YouTube.
that's like my favorite game ever.
Okay, you gotta go on YouTube, do a search for Video Games Live plus Contra. Now there's 2 ways we do it. There's a rock and roll, a heavy metal almost version of Contra that a super talented guitarist named Vertex Guy. He does the Jungle Jam with us, and you'll see that. It's pretty amazing. So you'll see that video. But we also, Contra is part of our classic arcade medley. That we do when we launch the show. It's basically a chronological history of video games starting in 1972 and go all the way up to Tetris. Now, when we first started doing it, Contra was not in that because, again, I even changed that from, every couple years we'll update that as well. And so the first version, Contra was not in it. But so make sure if you look at a classic arcade melody from Video Games Live, and make sure it's from past 2010 and beyond, or 2011. And you'll see Contra in there.
Oh,
well.
dude, I am all over this like flies on poop.
All right, now have you been to the show yet? Me
personally, no. Unfortunately, I went. You know what's wrong with me? I went through a very big move. Very big move, and ended up with my own family, and I'm looking for work and all kinds of crazy stuff. Life's been hectic. I haven't had a lot of money to spend, but believe me, I have a long short list, so to speak, of when I have the money, things I must do. Video Games Live is one of them.
Okay, so where did you move from, and where are you now?
Well, I was in central New Jersey, like New York metropolitan kind of area, because I'm from New York City originally. And
Yankees or Mets?
Mets.
Oh well,
We'll forgive you.
None of that Yankees junk. Wait.
Guy. I'm a cheater guy. Come on, how can you not?
Yeah, but you know what though? If you're gonna sit there and ask me that question, then I can explain to you in only 2 words why I say the Mets.
Is it gonna be Alex Rodriguez?
No, Staten Island.
Oh, there you go. Hey,
see, that makes sense now, doesn't it?
Look, we have respect for each other. As long as you didn't say the Red Sox, I'm fine.
Oh, God, no. God, no. None of that Boston crap here. No.
And Willie Randolph, had some Willie Randolph, wasn't he a coach of the Mets for a while?
I think he did.
Yeah, he was like the coach for the Mets. So
for like a couple of years, at least.
Yankees Mets it's a friendly rivalry, that one.
Oh, of course.
I mean, how can you be into pro baseball and not love Mariano Rivera and Derek?
Dude, Subway Series are always the highlight of baseball, in my opinion.
You're going to hate this, but I was actually there in 90. No, it would have been 2000. I went to Met Stadium. I was at Game 6 when the Yankees beat the Mets in the World Series there. But it was a great game.
At least you were there, though. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I flew out from California just to be there. But we played New York a bunch of times. We played Broadway on Broadway, Beacon Theater. We played all over Jersey and New York and Connecticut. And then now, where are you now, though?
I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. I know.
We've played Tennessee.
Well, I'm not big on. I've only been here for about 8 months now. I wouldn't know the first thing about anything. All I know is one thing is for sure: they really take college football seriously around here.
Yeah, down south, they absolutely, yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm a Red Sox fan, but even I respect Mariano Rivera. He is. Anytime he goes on the plate, I just start crying. It's like,
again, I got respect. I'm about respect for I love the game, and I'll tell you who I love on the Red Sox. I love Pedroia. How can you not love Dustin Pedroia? How can you not love Big Papi? I love the Red Sox. Wow. I love some of the Red Sox players. So there you go.
And James, just as a hint, Video Games Live was in Nashville on June 4th.
It was. You just missed us. We'll be back.
I guess some more questions about Video Games Live, since I know you aren't scheduled to come back to Salt Lake City for a little while. So I'd beg for that.
Yes, let us veer back on topic.
Wait, did you say next year?
Yeah, 2014. We're talking to the Utah Symphony now about that. Yeah.
Awesome, because I told my wife she has to go, and then I looked it up. I'm like, no, they aren't here this year. Darn it.
Right. No, we'll be.
So one of the big contributions that you guys have done to video game music is you made it known to a wider audience, that how good the music is. And in fact, due to you guys, video game soundtracks won their first Grammy with that amazing song from Civilization 4, the duet that you guys do in your tour. So what was it like when they first got nominated and started winning that stuff because of your tour?
Well, Christopher Tin, who's the composer, and he's also one of our guest conductors as well. He tours with us sometimes. Chris, very good friend. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I mean, he's just such a talent, and and he, at the end of the day, he had amazing music, and it was absolutely incredible. The first time I ever heard that song, Chris played it for me, and I had never played any of the Civilization games. And it's one of those songs, and the thing that I actually arranged a couple of his songs together. The thing that we play in Video Games Live is actually two songs from Civilization put together. A lot of people don't realize that. They just think it's one song. But it's actually two that we combined together. But it's one of those songs where the first time you hear it, you fall in love with it, and that you can't say that a lot about a lot of music, but most music it takes a couple times before you listen to it, and then you get used to it, then you love it. But to love something the very first time you hear it, and I said, Chris, we got the world has to know about this. This is something special. So yeah, we put the song in the show. We debuted that song in 2006 at the Hollywood Bowl. It was our second show that we had done because we'd played the Hollywood Bowl the previous year. But that we debuted it at the Hollywood Bowl, and then people love it. And of course, we put in our PBS special in 2010, 4 years later, and the following year, 2011, it won the Grammy. So even though the song and the game had come out, almost 7 years earlier or whatever, so or 5 years earlier, or whatever. But and then Journey is another one. Journey got nominated. It was the very first video game soundtrack to get nominated for a Grammy. The entire soundtrack based around a video game, and that was again Austin Wintory, nicest guy on the planet. And we started playing him. Now that arrangement that I put together for Journey is actually 3 songs that we kind of mashed together. And again, Austin's another guest conductor on the show as well. And all these folks are involved in our Kickstarter project, every one of them. So we're really excited about kind of bringing together video game composers from all over the world for this project, and keeping our fingers crossed that the folks are going to find it as exciting as we do. And we're off to a great start. We're at 46% funded in the first 9 days.
Woohoo! Yes, why don't you talk to people about that Kickstarter? This is for Video Games Live Level 3, the third album you guys are doing, and I'm currently a backer. I figured, I'm gonna buy the CD anyway, so might as well get it by backing you guys.
Well, that's the thing, right? And and for me, the reason to do it on Kickstarter is I want to be able to offer the thing to everybody for really cheap. So you're getting an out, and I don't know which level you backed, but I can tell you that my whole thing going into the Kickstarter was that I wanted to give people at least quadruple value back in return. Because I've been kind of lurking on Kickstarter for a long time, and I'd see a lot of great ideas and a lot of great things get funded, and a lot of the reward tiers were like, and then for $100 we'll put your name on a tombstone in a game somewhere, and then for $200 we'll do and it's like, that's kind of cool and stuff, but especially in this day and age when folks are hurting for cash, especially James.
Yes. I can attest. No. You know what? You make the joke, but it's so true. I can attest to that. It's not fun right now.
but see that, and that's the thing, is that I wanted to do this. I'm not making any money off of it. In fact, I'm putting my own money more into the project because the amount I'm asking for doesn't even cover what we need. So to me, it gives me an opportunity to say to somebody, hey, if you give me $10 for the album, I'm going to give you $40 of value. If you give me $25 towards this project, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you all 3 of our albums. All 3 of our albums that sell for, anywhere from around $15 each, right? Plus, I'm going to give you a 4th video game album that we're doing. Plus, I'll give you a 5th video game album, of Austin Wintory is going to do a special piano arrangement album. So I'm going to give you 5 video game albums for $25. You know, and these are all high quality. These aren't just, you know, somebody just kind of put together in their basement. We're talking about, these are big symphonic albums that cost, you know, millions of dollars to make. You know, and so
value for money.
Exactly, and I didn't see a lot of that on Kickstarter, and I think people really appreciate that. And again, lucky for us, we have, you know, we own the rights to all of our stuff, so I can give people stuff basically pennies on the dollar. What does it cost me? The only thing I have to pay when I give away an album is I have to pay the licensing fees to the, you know, to the game publishers, which is about 10 cents a song. So, you know, you're talking probably around 10, you know, an album that has, you know, 15, 16, or 18 cuts on it, you know, you're talking about $1.80. So that's what it costs me to give away. So yeah, I just, you know, we're not in it for the money. We're in to spread the word. And the other thing is, a lot of people say, oh, well, you're a big successful video game show, tour. Why do you need other people's money? Well, I'll tell you the reason is because no band spends their own money to make their own record. Right? The way the music industry works is record companies pay for the thing, and then they market it, and then they pay a royalty to the thing. No, not even Aerosmith or Lady Gaga or U2 spend their own money to make an album. It's just not the way it's set up. And the reality is that because a lot of people are, let's say, borrowing music off the internet, and not paying for it in stores, record companies will not, you know, they don't believe in our concept. They don't believe that people are willing to pay for video game music because they feel that gamers are just going to steal it. And so I've been to every major label, you know, in regards to, you know, because again, and why do you need a major label? Why don't bands just do it themselves? Because the bands are creators. They create the content. They're not distributing and taking out ads and doing PR and marketing and distributing to Brazil and China, and they know nothing about that. That's what you need a video game company, a record company for. But for us, because we have so many fans around the world, because we've been touring now for, you know, in over 25 countries on 5 continents, we're just going to go directly to our folks and say, you know what, screw the middleman. Screw that. You know, no record company believes that anyone's willing to pay for this stuff. We disagree. Tell you what, you back us on this project, and we'll give you back 4 times what you want. Because I want this music to go out to as many people as possible. Again, it's not to make a buck. Hell, if I was doing that, I'd ask for a lot more money, and I'd give a lot less back, right? But, you know, that's not the concept. Or the
exactly.
idea.
The way you're doing it is not maximizing your profits whatsoever.
Yeah, right?
You know, if you've got 2 neurons to rub together in your head, you can look at this and go, yeah, he's not making money off of this.
Well, I'm going to be losing money, in fact, but that's okay. I'm okay with that as long as I can get most of the costs covered. I mean, when we did our PBS special, and this is back in 2010. Now, PBS is, you know, the highest regarded quality, you know, when it comes to concerts and things. They are the epitome of class and quality. Okay, how much do you think it would cost to do a complete show on PBS? I'll tell you, it costs about $1 million. Now, do you think that PBS spends $1 million on creating these contents? No. The way it used to work is the record companies would pay to produce the shows, and because it would drive album sales. Well, guess what? We don't have a record company, and so guess where most 75% of that money came from? Right out of my pocket. You know, I funded our whole PBS special. And was it because I made money back? Absolutely, I did not. How can, you'd have to sell a lot of records and a lot of DVDs, Blu-rays to get $750,000 back. But I saw this as what a fantastic opportunity to get video game music into 90 million households in the United States, to get it to, 80% of the PBS audience are people over the age of 50 who, and so a bunch of non-gamers. What a fantastic way to turn them on. And was that worth, risking everything I've ever worked for the last 25 years of my life? Absolutely it was. Did I get back what I put into it? Nope. But would I do it all over again? Absolutely I would. So it's all about, spreading the word. And here's the good news. Here's the best news of all. Out of the 4,000 concerts that PBS produced over the last 40 years, over 4,000, we are ranked number 9 of all time. Number 9.
Wow. Dang.
And that's to an audience that knew nothing about video games.
Whew. And just as an update for your Kickstarter, I was just trying to up my pledge to the Duck Hunt Early Bird Special.
It's gone.
And it disappeared right, and I clicked. It was there, and now it's gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gone. What'll happen is people will shift over. So the initial 250 were gone on the first day, and so when somebody shifts over to another pledge, that one opens up. So somebody probably went higher from 25 to 35 or whatever, and that opened one up. But here's the good news for you. The $25, there's another one called Stage 1-1 is the one I think you're referring to.
Stage 1-1 is the one I just did. Stage 1-2 is what I just did.
Yeah, so we did Stage 1-2. There's still some of those left, and it's basically the same thing, except instead of getting a digital download of the video, the special, you get a digital download of the album. So you're actually getting 3. That's what I was saying before. Actually, you get 3 Video Games Live albums, and then a 4th Video Games Live album that we're calling,
and the Austin Wintry one,
bonus round, and then Austin Wintry. That's all for $25. Now here's the thing. At $35 for $10 more, I throw in I feel like I'm on some like QVC or something. And act now,
supplies are limited.
Supplies are limited. They are limited, as he just found out. But at $35, I'm going to throw in a 6th album, the Earthworm Jim anthology album, which has 28 digitally recorded, re-recorded, mastered tracks on it. Plus, because remember at the 25 level, you could either get it with the video download or the album download. I'm going to throw in both of those. So you get the movie and the DVD and the Blu-ray, which sells for $20-25 on its own right there. So
my wife is going to hurt me if I keep on upping this.
So $35, you're going to get 6 albums. You're going to get a digital version of the Blu-ray and the DVD, and we throw in a super high-res Video Games Live in China Blizzard poster and a Taiwan beautiful art piece, Video Games Live in Taiwan art piece and stuff. So at $35, are you ready for this? At $35, the value back is $175. $175.
All right, Jerry, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be spending $35.
Well, now let's talk.
I was looking at the 50 and more.
I was going to say, now at 50. Now wait, let's talk about 50.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the 50. Now,
okay,
listen, while supplies are lasting.
Are you ready for this? Now, the 50 is what we got there is you're going to get the physical CD of level 3, and I'm going to have 7 video game composers sign the CD for you. And I'm in a 7th video game album, which has 29 tracks recorded on it. Plus, we give you the sheet music to BioShock, piano score for BioShock, and the entire classic arcade medley, which, did I mention, has Contra in it? James, did I mention that? So it's the sheet music, the orchestrated sheet music for Contra. It would be at your fingertips. And for $50, this is a $300 value.
Dear God, I need money.
Oh my goodness, my wife is going to not like me. But
now, if you think that's great, now let me tell you about the $100. No, but see, that's what I did, right? That's what I did. Is I tried this every level. I tried to like outdo myself every time. I say, okay, now what? Now, my God.
Wait. You know what? Since you're on this roll, tell us about the $100 one.
Oh,
actually, no. You should tell us about the $10,000 one.
Oh, we don't have enough time. We don't have.
Or the 5,000. But I just want to ask a couple of questions about how Video Games Live work. You said that you arrange all these things. Do you actually arrange all these pieces with the composers, or do you like get Jeremy Soule to send you his piece and you arrange it for him and you get his approval, or so on?
We kind of go back and forth. It's different. It's different. Like with Austin, I said, Austin, send me your 5 favorite songs from Journey, and he sent me his 5 favorite, and I listened to them, and I liked, I really loved parts of 3 of them that I thought worked together, and I sent it back, and I said, hey, what do you think of this? He's like, oh my God, I love it. Same thing with Christopher Tin and Civilization. Other times, like with Marty O'Donnell, when we were doing Destiny, I said the same thing. Marty, send me the whole album and let me decide, and I picked 2 songs from Destiny, 2 complete songs, and we did, we did one of them, and so yeah, I mean it's sometimes I work directly with the composer. We sit down together and say, oh, let's do this, and let's take, like I did, I'll tell you the example of that was Dota 2. There's 5 different songs from Dota that we squeezed into about 4.5 minutes. And the composer, Tim Larkin, very dear friend of mine, known him 20-plus years, and he, we kind of went back and forth with that one. I said, I really like these songs. Out of the 20 that you sent me, I really love these 7. How can we? And he's like, oh, well, these are my 3 favorite for sure. And these 2 are really important in the game because of this reason, because I haven't played Dota yet. And so we kind of went back and forth, and we sent each other arrangements back and forth. So, and then for the old school stuff, though, when I'm doing stuff like, Street Fighter and Mega Man and Castlevania and, Tetris and stuff like that, a lot of times that's just me. Like Mega Man, Street Fighter, and Castlevania are examples where I wanted to do like flat out hard rock versions of those. And then have the symphony kind of behind me. And so, for those pieces, I really just, picked up my guitar and played, just like yesterday, I'm going to get on my knees and pray. That's a reference to an old Who song, sorry. But anyway, I was rhyming there. I was on a roll. I had to keep going with
Nothing wrong with that.
That's what... so that's, every song is a little different. Every, the Blizzard stuff, where I sit down with Russell Brower, who's the audio director of Blizzard, very good buddy of mine. And, he definitely, he'll come up with the arrangements 100% on his own. So, and it's usually always genius stuff. So, he's another guest conductor for us as well. So, yeah, it's different for everything.
Okay, so if you don't mind, we have 2 decently quick questions, and then we'd like to invite you on the show again to talk more about your career and so on, because I know you're in a hurry now, and we're focusing on Video Games Live, but there's so much more we can ask you about.
Yeah.
So the last couple of questions is, so what songs can people expect to see on Level 3? Because, we've seen lots of great ones on the first 2. Yeah. And then also, if people want to see stuff about where Video Games Live is touring now, because I know you're going to Latin America next, where they can find stuff about the tours and more information about upcoming albums and so on.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to kind of follow us, the best thing to do is to sign up two things. Sign up to our mailing list, videogameslive.com, and you sign up to our mailing list. Put your email and where you're located, and then what we do is we, whenever there's a show that's coming to your area, we email you and say, hey, we're coming to your area, and guess what? Here's the link to go buy tickets and get the best seats for a special price before they go on sale to the general public. So that's always good to be informed. We do that on our mailing list. But the other thing, to kind of keep in touch with us daily to see what's happening, check out our Facebook page. It's Video Games Live. We have about like 7 or 8 different Facebook pages because we do different countries. You know, there's one for Brazil, there's one for the Middle East. We play Dubai every year. There's one for Canada. There's one for France. But and all over. But yeah, definitely do the main Video Games Live page to keep in touch with us. As far as the songs for this next one, that's a great question because I have about 30 songs that I want to do, and, the album's probably going to be about 15 to 18 tracks. Here's the ones that I'm most focused on, though, and we're going to be making some announcements early next week as to which ones that we definitely have. But the ones that we are most focused on are Shadow of the Colossus, Skyrim, Journey, Monkey Island, Dota 2. We'll probably see some Earthworm Jim on there, and
yes!
Beyond Good and Evil is another one. Definitely some stuff from Warcraft and BioShock and Street Fighter 2, Tetris. Those are the ones that you can, and the interesting thing about all those is that you would never expect on a big symphony album to hear stuff like Beyond Good and Evil and Shadow of the Colossus and things like Silent Hill and things like that. And so that's what makes Video Games Live cool, and what makes this project super special and unique is that there's so many, because there's other video game albums that have come out now. And they always go for, let's put Mario and Sonic and Zelda and Halo on there.
Yeah, like the London Symphony one that they did.
Yeah. They always do like the stuff that like you expect.
It's not as good, honestly.
Yeah, well, no. And that's that their very first song on their very first album was, don't you?
I don't remember what it is. I just remember I didn't like their album.
The first song you loved, it was Advent Rising.
Yes, that song, yes, is on there. But I remember going through it, and it's like they have Oblivion, and they have Skyrim, and Angry Birds, and I wasn't.
All I know is that Skyrim on level 3, yes.
Yeah, well, wait, now have you ever heard our arrangement of it, too? That's the thing. Go on YouTube and just do a search for Video Games Live and Skyrim, because my whole goal, the thing that makes Video Games Live so different from any of the other things like this out there is that what I do is I start with the song that's there, and then I take it higher. But I start with what's there. So things like God of War and Warcraft and Skyrim, they are massively epic and huge to begin with. That's where I start. And then we take it to levels even higher than that. And whereas with the other things, what they try to do with more of the traditional symphonies a lot of times is they'll take the score and then they'll try to convert it to what a traditional symphony would sound like. And that's cool. That's cool that people are doing different variations of it. I'm not disparaging anyone in any way. It's just that's not what we do. What we do is we want to start with the greatness and then start layering on top of that. And so that's what you'll see at Video Games Live. So when you hear Skyrim, people, they get goosebumps and their jaws are dropping and people are crying in the aisles. It's so, so epic and so incredible that it's like, oh my God, as massively epic and awesome as Skyrim is, you guys just took it to a higher level. And that's what, that's what my whole goal was from the start. So to record all these things like that and to put them on an album, I mean, it's just going to be amazing.
And I do have one suggestion, if it's possible to do it. It's from Mass Effect 3. A Future for the Krogan, I think, would be an awesome song to
All right, I got to check that one out. I'm not familiar with that one, so send me a link to that, please.
I'll send it to you, and thank you for being on, sir. We'd love to have you on again in the future, probably after you get back from Latin America, to talk about your career in general, because I love to talk Advent Rising and
for sure.
Earthworm Jim and everything.
I'm doing I'm doing a panel at the Salt Lake City Comic-Con in a couple weeks, so it's right after PAX. So if you're going to be at that, let me know, and let's hook up.
That's funny because I know he's going to be there.
I should be there, though I might not be there every single day. Do you know which day your panel is?
I'm there all day. I don't all 3 days. I'm not sure.
All right. Jerry,
when the panel is. They're going to be announcing it. Follow us on Facebook. I'll be putting it all over Video Games Live Facebook page and all that stuff.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Jerry, Jerry, you must go when the day that he is there.
Whatever day you are there, though, if it's not the day of my panel, make sure you contact me and let's hook up and take some pictures in person. And meet in person for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on, sir. I know you're in a hurry. We actually kept you a little longer than we said we would, but this is awesome, and we'll send as many people to Video Games Live on Kickstarter as possible because I've spent a lot of money already. Now I need to get more people.
We must fund it more. And by the way, you know what? After talking to you, for some reason, I want to get a shirt that has a picture of your face that just says "Tommy, don't profit."
Wow, I like that. That's very cool.
Is that not a great idea?
I mean, I could never say anything like that because people would think I'm narcissist. But yeah,
but you can say that. I think I should indeed.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys, and make sure you send me a link to this when it's up, and I will blast it out to all our networks, our social media stuff, and mailing lists and all that.
Thank you. It should be up probably later tonight because I want it up there as quickly as possible to help you get as many backers as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I sure appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, and have a good evening, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Rock on, my friend.
It's been a blast.
Rock on. I'll see you in a couple of weeks there, Jeremiah.